We are going to talk about how you report your parents on the CSS profile. Students are expected to report their parents, whether it is their biological parents, their adoptive parents, their step-parents, or their legal guardians. Regardless of who the parents are or their relationship to the student, they are to be reported on this page. Some students will have a parent or parents who died. Some students will have one parent because the student was adopted or conceived by a single parent. In some of those cases, that parent will have subsequently married or partnered. Regardless of the number of parents, the relationship of the parents, or the status of the parents, all of the student's parents are reported on the CSS profile. This presentation will talk about how to report them on the application. Students whose parents are together are simply reported. One parent in the Parent 1 row and one parent in the Parent 2 row. The parent's first name and last name are entered, and then the relationship to the student is selected. Once completed, the applicant clicks on Save and Continue. If one or both of the parents are deceased, they are still reported as before. To report that a parent is deceased, check the Deceased box on the appropriate parent's row. Once this is done, the CSS profile will recognize that the student's parent is widowed and that the CSS profile requires no further information about or from the second parent. If the parents are no longer together and are currently single, both parents are reported, one to each row, then Save and Continue is clicked to advance. This is the same as reporting parents who are together, but on the next screen, we'll show you how to tell us the parents are no longer together. Next, the marital status of the parents is asked, and this is where the applicant reports that the student's parents are not together, and that the student's parents live in two separate households. If the parents are not together and at least one parent has remarried or repartnered, the student's parents are reported as before, and a step-parent is added. The applicant clicked on the Add Another Parent button for a Parent 3 row to be added, then completed the information about that parent, selecting step-parent to identify this parent's relationship to the student. The CSS profile allows up to 4 parents to be reported. Two surviving parents who report that they are no longer together will see this next page. Single widowed parents and single parents who adopted or conceived as a single parent will not. All living parents from the parents page are listed here. The applicant will be asked to identify which parent or parents the student lives with the most, and then will be asked to report which parent's information will be reported on this application. It is important here to select all applicable parents in each of these questions, especially if one or both parents have remarried or repartnered. In this case, if the student lived with Ava, their mother, and Sean, their stepfather, then both Ava and Sean would be checked. If it was also Ava and Sean's information to be reported on the application, both Ava and Sean would be checked. This section is critical for determining whether the application is being completed by the student and the custodial parent or by the non-custodial parent. The parents the student lives with the most is considered the custodial parent, and that application will always include both the student's and the parent's financial information. The other parent will report their financial information, but no student income or asset questions will be asked. Properly identifying which parent's information goes on which form is critical to getting information to the student's colleges correctly. If a parent is a single parent of an adopted or donor-conceived child, the parent will only report themselves as Parent 1. The Parent 2 row needs to be removed, as trying to advance with the Parent 2 row blank will result in error messages. To remove the Parent 2 row, click on the X under Remove. If only one parent is listed, you will be asked to explain why there is only one parent. At this point, you can select an appropriate response. Not reporting the parent on the Parents page and designating a parent as unknown or as having no contact doesn't automatically waive a school's requirement for that parent to submit a CSS profile for the student. Anytime a student has two living parents, even if one is no longer part of the student's household, both parents may be required to complete the CSS profile by an institution. If there is an issue with getting that parent to complete the CSS profile, the student should discuss the situation with their college or colleges. Students who have court-appointed legal guardians report their legal guardians as their parent, and the legal guardian's current spouse or partner is reported. The student's parents are also reported even if one or both are deceased. Reporting the adults in the student's life in this manner both helps the CSS profile know how to present the rest of the application and gives the financial aid officer critical information about the student's situation. On another note, only those people who are court-appointed as legal guardians are reported. If the parents have a private agreement with someone they designate as the student's guardian, even if it involves a legal contract, the parents are reported as the parents on the CSS profile, not the guardians. Now, as with parents who are no longer together, the family supporting the student is identified, as well as who is reporting information on the application. Students with legal guardians should discuss their situation with their colleges early in the financial aid process. Colleges can provide clear guidance on their requirements and what information and documentation will be expected from the student. This brings us to the end of our presentation. For more information, please visit the links provided.